This is Kerwin, and welcome to an episode of Travel Talk. I haven't had one of these in a while, and today I really want to talk about how we treat people in customer service. Let's go. So I started many years ago in customer service, and I used to check people in the airports. And what you find is that some people, they have other problems, and then you as a agent, they decide that they're going to take out their frustrations on you, which is just so unnecessary. But people do it. And so as I travel, I see this all the time, and it frustrates me why we can't just treat each other with some level of dignity and respect. Remember that the agent who's in front of you, who's helping you to check in, is a person. They have a life. They got up in the morning. They probably got up earlier than you did because they had to prepare things so that you have a great travel experience. I always think of a 5 a.m. flight. I'm up at 2 a.m. and I get to the airport and there's somebody there. And I'm thinking, wow, that person must have been up at 1 a.m. or midnight to make sure that when I get to the airport, I can get checked in, I can go through security, uh, I can I can get something to eat. So there's a lot of people who do a lot of things for you that you don't really think about. So it's kind of unfair when you come to the airport and you yell at people just because you're having a bad day or something isn't going the way that you think it should be going. And likewise, um, it happens on the flip side, right? Because I was taking this flight and the app gave me one story and the airport board gave me another story. And so I went over to the gate and the agent was there. And I said to the agent, I said, sir, there's some conflicting information, but what time is this flight actually leaving? And he goes, sit down. And I go, excuse me? And so his colleague overheard the conversation. And she said, we're going to be boarding in 2 minutes. We'll just hang out around here. We'll make an announcement. And she was very calm. And in about 2 minutes, we boarded. And as it turns out, the same person who yelled at me is the same person that scanned my documents. And I said, of course, very politely, I said, good morning, how are you? And he looked at me and he paused. And then he goes, good morning. So I'm not the person who, if you treat me badly, I'm not going to treat you bad. I'm going to actually treat you with even more respect than I normally would because I know it's going to piss you off, pardon the expression. Because how people operate is if if you're mad, they expect you if you get bad service, they expect you to start yelling and screaming. And I never yell and scream. Matter of fact, I'm so calm whenever I get really awful service. At one point, I was checking into a hotel, and the lady was really being awful. And under normal circumstances, I would be upset. I should be upset. And I said to her, I go, I'm really upset. You may not know it because I'm not yelling and shouting at you, but I'm really upset. And then she started smiling, which was quite funny. So, treat people with dignity and respect in the industry, or everywhere, right? There is no there's no reason to be yelling at and screaming at someone. Another lady she was in the line and she kept yelling at the people who were marshaling the line. And the people who are marshaling the lines, their job is to get you through the line. Don't yell at those people because, as a matter of fact, if you do, all they have to do is pick up the phone and call security, and you're out of there. It doesn't matter. They called security because you were being a jerk. And if you have a problem with how the system is working, go yell at the airline. Go yell at somebody else. Don't yell at the people that are in the line because you're just creating a lot of problems for those people. And this lady, she kept yelling. She yelled at the first person, then she yelled at the second person. And the same thing she yelled at that person for is the same thing the first person told her that she needed to do. And so she's yelling at the second person for no reason at all. And so I went over to the second lady and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then she looked at me and she goes, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. So sometimes, just remember that the people who are dealing with you are, they're people just like you and I. Another case, I was checking this hotel and this guy in front of me was just berating this girl for no reason. And and she was doing her best. She was really trying to help the guy. And she checked him in and he left. And when I came up to her, I said to her, I go, so how are you? How are things going? What's going on with you? And I said, I don't care how long the line is behind me. I know something is wrong. What's going on? And she said, thank you so much for asking. On my way here this morning, I got in an accident. And I had to get to work. So I haven't called the insurance company. I haven't done anything yet. And I need to do that. And that's what's on my mind. And I said, I'm so sorry about that. And she said, thank you. Thank you for asking. Thank you for caring. I said, I feel a little better now. I know it's gonna not be a good thing, but somebody else cared. So sometimes just don't, I see people, they come to me and they're just like, they slap down their passport and their documents in front of the person who's just trying to help them. Um, you know, as somebody who was at the counter, um, we can give you a middle seat and they can say, hey, we don't have any more seats. We can give you a middle seat at the back of the plane. It takes you forever to get off the plane. Or if you're nice, I can give you a seat with leg room. And all I have to do is put a note in the record so when the auditors come by, because the auditors will come by and find out, well, why are you giving away the farm? As long as you put a note in there that says, hey, you know, customer service gesture or whatever it is. Customers are having a good day, so you give them a better seat or something like that, then it's fine. Um, so if you're nice to people, you get served well. Who cares if you're gonna do like, people go to restaurants and they give them tips or whatever it is. But if you're a jerk, it doesn't matter how much tip you give, you're still a jerk. So just be nice to people. That's kind of the object of this travel talk today, because we need to be a little nicer than we are. Um, there is no reason to be a jerk to someone. Absolutely no reason. Complain to the people who are trying to save money, because the people who are trying to save money don't understand what they're doing. Well, they understand, but they don't care. And I say this because you decide you're going to save money and you took something out of the service, but you put more strain on the rest of the people who are delivering that service. And you put so much strain on it that the customers feel it. You overhear the employees complaining that there isn't enough of us to do this job. And so you have to listen to all that. You wouldn't have had to listen to that if they had enough people. Now, they call it efficiency, but it's not. You're just trying to save money. And you're like, well, okay, so you're trying to save money. Where is that money going? It's certainly not giving me better service because you've taken somebody out of the loop who was going to be there to help me. And so, and I see that, and this happens all the time. In the name of saving money, we lose lives because we're not the people who are doing the job, we got rid of them. And those people are what the system needs, but we're trying to save money and we say, the company saved this much money and everybody is happy except the employees because you've overloaded their jobs and the customers because now the customer gets a lesser service than they should have in the first place. So I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because I know you guys are quite good, but Just when you travel, just think about these things. Um, that's all I got. So like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. And the next time you travel, just think about that the person who's giving you that shared ride driver that shows up at 3:45 in the morning to take you to the airport. Just think about what it took for that person to show up at 3:45 because you probably got up at 2 o'clock to get ready. And that person had been out there driving all night, or they probably just got up to take you to the airport. We don't think about that stuff, but that's how the world works. So be nice to people, not just in travel, but in general. And when somebody's not nice to you, be even nicer to them because it's the worst thing for them because they're expecting a reaction from you and you don't give them one. And then because you don't give them one, they're pissed off. Pardon the expression. So this is Kerwin, the Price Rider. I'm on cruiseonju.com. Do have a safe trip out there. And remember, be nice. It's so much easier to be nice. So, so, so much easier. Talk to you soon.